Is it lame? Can I say something? It might be lame.
I think you can definitely say something. This is our podcast.
Good point. Well, on to that point, this is the highest I've been on the podcast in a long time.
In a long time, so not of all time, but in a long time.
No, I don't even. Maybe.
If you can recall the last time you were as high or higher on an episode.
Can't. It's the problem with weed.
Well, hey, if this is a listener's first time, listening
hello.
to this podcast, hello. What would you say was another episode where you rival this high?
I can't remember. Raging Bull?
Give a frame of reference. Raging Bull, that was pretty high. You were pretty high while recording it?
Yeah, I remember.
We were really high while watching it.
Yeah.
We being the Chronic Canon,
I was
a movie
really
podcast.
high for Age of Innocence, the recording of that.
Oh yeah, that's the
Ooh,
woo
I'm high.
Yeah.
That's that one.
where you had to verbally remind yourself why you're feeling the way you are.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty high on the Shutter Island one.
Yeah,
I was pretty high.
I don't think I was.
I think I smoked like 2 blunts prior. We're about to smoke another one right now.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because Brandon just lit a blunt and I'm nervous about it because I'm already the highest I've been in a long time.
Wait, Brant, who are you?
I'm Frank.
I'm Jesse. And you are?
I'm Brandon.
The anticipation was killing me.
And we're the Chronic Canon. Hello.
A movie podcast where we smoke movies and we talk weed.
We're live in our ears, not in yours.
And if you don't like heat, I'm sorry, but you got to go.
You gotta get the fuck out.
It's for your own good. If you've never seen it, it's fine. If you've seen it and actively dislike it, you got to go, because we talk about it a lot.
You have to go.
And we love Michael Mann here. And if you don't like heat, you probably don't like Michael Mann very much.
That's not even as big a problem for me as heat itself.
It's up in the air. Heat's just one of those absolutes.
I mean, it hurts. I want you to like Michael Mann. I want everybody to like Michael
It certainly would be a plus.
But what if someone was like, Heat's a bad movie, but I love Michael Mann?
Not good enough.
What do you mean? That's a liar.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a liar.
I think that's an oxymoron.
That
Yeah.
can't
Does that work?
exist.
Yeah, that's the limit does not exist. Is that Mean Girls? I'm sorry.
The way of the future.
Welcome. We say a lot of nonsense. We spoil a lot of movies. Be
Almost all of
forewarned. Almost all the movies. that
Spoiler
have
film.
At
ever
the end
Spoiler
of Gone
film.
with the Wind, they say,
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I don't give a damn.
And then he leaves. He says, "Fuck this. Goodbye."
And then it's like, whoa, they could do that?
And then it's like, "Whoa,
It's
Kaiser
like-
Soze was Kevin
It's not
Spacey."
that great. Yep, that too.
Surprise.
And
So
John Doe.
So anyway, yeah, shitty guy being shitty dudes. Classic. It's classic.
Hugo. Classic Hugo.
Classic Sassy, the man who we are talking about right now. We've been doing his filmography in order.
You know,
We're almost done.
Yeah, this is movie 22. There's 25.
25.
before we wrap up
you
the
know what?
Sassy session.
I cannot hit that. I'm passing my head. Give
We're
me a
coughing
minute.
extra hard on this one.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm
That
passing
might
my
be
head.
the super blunt.
Oh,
I have a
boy.
feeling that is the Roach Blunt.
I'll take it in a second. If you don't smoke, hey, that's cool. Hang out with us. Let's talk. We talk movies more than we talk.
We
weed.
are not a weed exclusive podcast.
Well, not a weed exclusive podcast, but we are definitely a podcast.
We are a podcast,
You know what I'm
but you
saying?
don't have to indulge in the said pot
Nah,
to enjoy it with us.
I like that more.
Get the contact high
Yeah.
off of us.
Tell us why you don't like weed, but like us at our email, chroniccanon@gmail.com.
Or you can follow us on Twitter at Chronic Canon. And you
Boom.
can also tell us how you feel about one Mr. Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, we like him very much.
We like him a lot.
Right? Overall, everybody?
I even, the other day made mention that he very well could be my favorite director.
Wait,
Because
actually,
he holds
though?
a special place in my heart. And I had a conversation with
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
it's perfect timing because I had a conversation with a friend who also loves Howie Bling. Also, happy 420, boys. Hit this blunt real quick.
Happy 420.
A mutual friend of the podcast, Jordan, who loves
Hey,
Howie
buddy.
Bling and also loves Marty
Hi, Jordan.
Scorsese.
What's up, dude?
He made a point that Marty might be the best director to bridge the accessible general audience film with the art, auteur film.
I feel like that was a part of our inception of choosing him as the first director, because we knew he would, like, if not the best example, we knew he was a prime example of those two worlds colliding.
Yeah.
Which is a part of the whole idea of trying to get Brandon to cross that bridge, baby.
And that was encompassed in both The Irishman and Uncut Gems. Howie Bling coming back again. He's always there. even in death, because he got shot in the head at the end of Uncut
Damn.
Gems.
Okay, so since we realized that we had never spoiled it, I think we spoiled it every episode. Is that a new thing too?
Yeah.
Always
Oh,
spoil Uncut
fuck.
Gems.
That's
Just really shitty.
really
you
shitty
guys.
of us. We gotta stop.
Okay, last one. Last one. We'll make a point
I'm gonna
to
bleep
not-
it. I'm gonna bleep it.
No, bleep it next episode.
Okay.
And at the end of Uncut Gems,
I'm gonna bleep my bleep.
just boop it. You know,
Keep
weirdly,
it and triple it.
It's our own joke now.
we like, you know what? Fuck, I don't give a fuck. I'm not getting into this. Hugo is today's fucking movie, and everything we've been talking about, I feel like is actually a good lead-in to Hugo because
Yeah.
it's Scorsese's most naked, like love fest toward movies. Like,
That's true.
like straight up, half the movie is just about how dope movies are.
Well, you know, we haven't been doing Scorsese's docs, but that
Correct.
journey
Only
through
feature films.
cinema might be his most diehard cinephile thing
as far
he's
as
done.
feature films go.
I agree with you, but I'm saying that
Have
that
you watched that?
exists. No, I've just seen clips.
I started it one night when we lived together.
Yeah.
Like that long ago. I watched like 45 minutes and I was like, honestly, I'm just tired now. Like I don't know.
It's
Not,
cute.
it's
but,
super cute.
You know, there is something to Sassy talking about movies. Like there are a lot of directors that I don't like to listen to, even if I like their movies. You know, like some are just not as charismatic or as personable or well read,
I mean,
guess,
it's
as other people.
It's hard to talk about your own shit. You
It's
know?
true.
And some people are good at it. Some people aren't.
But I wasn't even talking specifically
about
about your own
movies in
shit, about
general?
movies in general, where Scorsese's somebody I like to listen to on the conversation of movies specifically, not just his own, but mostly other movies.
I agree, actually.
Even movies that I don't like necessarily, listening to him talk about how much he loves them, it reminds me of why that's the beautiful thing in movies, the opinions being so varied, despite the fact that it usually frustrates me within the group.
See, I feel like because I have this aversion to cinephiles, hearing the director talk about how much he loves movies isn't as cute to me, you know? But like seeing that love played through like his movies hits home a lot more, where I'm like, nah man, I totally see the power in this medium and I see why you love this medium because of the way that you made the story flow around your love for it,
Right.
but also still being like intrinsic to the story.
I think that might actually be because he is a bona fide director, like exclusively. Like Scorsese, like is a writer, and he like tailors a lot of his scripts that he gets, but he never starts the idea. He always comes onto it and then brings his world to these texts that weren't birthed with him. And I think because of that, that is like I have the pure cinematic mind, you know? It's not like just like a natural storytelling mind or something. It's like I speak cinema and this is how I'm going to put myself in this story.
Right.
And I think those are the directors who usually can pull stuff off like that, like your Spielbergs too. Like has he ever written his own? He had to have.
He has, at least at some point.
Has he?
Maybe not.
Isn't that weird? Hold on.
He's probably consulted on the scripts.
Just like Marty.
Yeah. Well, Marty's a writer.
No, Marty wrote
Mean Streets.
Who's that knocking at your door, didn't he?
And Mean. Well, he always
The
has
early
a co-writer.
ones, the
I think
early-
he always has a co-writer.
But late as the career's gone, he's scarcely credited as a writer.
No, yeah.
You guys
not
want me to put
usually.
this out, save it for your later
Yes,
pod?
please,
Sure,
I'm
that
so
works.
fucking high.
I know.
Spielberg's only written Sugarland Express, Close Encounters, and AI.
Interesting.
Those are the three.
He wrote AI.
So, I mean, he's credited at the very least.
Well, I was just because it was a Kubrick project that he piggybacked on.
But maybe he actually like took the script and finished it or something.
True. That's always a possibility.
Oh no, he's the sole credited writer.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe they weren't even
I
at
bet
a script
that's a very
yet.
personal movie to him.
I loved it.
When you think, okay, that's interesting, bringing up Kubrick and Spielberg and Méliès and Hugo and Cassavetes and Scorsese and
Miyazaki,
What are we doing?
naming
just
directors.
the mentor, you know, the old and the new, the
Oh.
people that inspire the new generations. I don't know. That's definitely touched on in Hugo a bit. I think that this is Marty's message to all the kiddies out there, which, I mean, we didn't explicitly put this at the beginning of the podcast because you never know. Some kiddies might be listening to this.
Yeah, maybe
Hugo
we make this our
episode.
kids episode. Hey, children.
It's a little late for that.
We're really sorry so far.
Should we rewind?
No.
Are children listening to podcasts? I don't think that's the new cool thing.
But I think where I find the most value in Hugo is as the movie where Marty is teaching all the kids about movies, and specifically like movies that are more or less considered just historical, not like, entertainment almost. Whereas I think that there is so much entertainment to glean off of, especially all the clips and everything that you see through Millier's work and all that one movie montage that just shuffles through a lot of the most iconic clips from movies all the way up through 1931 that comes during that National Film Library sequence, I think.
Yeah.
Before Michael Stuhlbarg, or is that when Michael Stuhlbarg comes in and starts talking?
Might be when after he's come.
What a guy. Coming in clutch in like every movie he's in.
Yeah. 100% one of the most reliable actors working, period, ever. In the history of ever. Michael Stuhlbarg always brings the power.
But Scorsese always just always has such a heart to his movies, and I think that here it's the most earnest and light, obviously, by comparison to all the rest of his work, so it's definitely a nice shift in tone and atmosphere, even though, like, it's cheesy and it's corny a lot of the time. It's a kid's movie. But at the same time, it almost feels like it's doing a lot, like the score specifically feels almost like Harry Potter-esque sometimes, and even the sets and things like that. Like, it gleans off of movies that I feel surprised to see Scorsese pulling from, and and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but it didn't necessarily jive with me the whole time. But no matter what the case, I love how much Scorsese puts his love of movies into this, and how he's just basically trying to pass the torch to the next generation.
I feel like because before I watched it, because shocker, I fell asleep when we had a group session of Hugo, so I just watched it like an hour before recording the podcast. But before I went downstairs in the basement to my dungeon to go and watch the movie, I was having a conversation with Scorsese and one of our friends, and we were talking about like scores and music and movies, and I was like, that's just something that like I never really noticed like outside of the moment. Like I can't go back and think about like like the background music or just like even like certain songs in movies, unless like it really, 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 really hits, like the one in Place Me on the Pines. But I feel like because I had that conversation with you guys beforehand, when I went downstairs to watch Hugo, I was paying attention to the music a little bit more, and it really did have this sort of like you said, like Harry Potter, like sort of just like majestic, magical feel to it. And I was sort of confused by it because I was like, everything you're showing me is really fucking sad. What is magical about this? And then, by the end of the movie, everything had made sense. And I was like, that music probably was fucking perfect, of just building and swelling into this magical thing that you're eventually going to find out about.
It perfectly fits the tone Scorsese is building on the whole movie.
Definitely.
And I think that it's sweet, and it brings up nostalgic feelings in me because it is reminiscent of movies that I used to love as a kid and movies that made me emotional as a kid.
Do you remember the first movie, being a child, that like blew your mind about the magic of movies? Like the one that just like, where, like, I think back and I'm always like, I always knew about movies. I always liked movies. I've always wanted to be a director. So there was obviously something impressionable from the get-go. But I mean, like that specific memory where you were like, whoa, I didn't know that was allowed or something.
Right.
Like that next, because I feel like all Disney animated movies are probably the answer. But like,
for you?
For everyone, of like what got you to like, oh, more movies, please. I'm pretty sure every kid, it's just like, watch this cartoon. And it's like, nice, more cartoon.
I never really had when I was a little kid, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was like my shit. And so was Pinocchio.
That's what, yeah.
But I don't remember loving those movies in the way that, like, I remember loving other movies that came down the line just a few years later.
Brandon, do you?
So I'm like trying to go back and I'm trying to think, because like I feel like I've moved through phases in life when it comes to like movies, where it's like in high school I definitely remember like seeing a movie and being like, well, that's it, like I definitely want some more of that. I remember like before going like early college seeing a movie and being like, yep, that's pretty much it. Last December I went to the theaters and saw a movie and went, oh yeah, that's pretty much it, isn't it? i.e., The Irishman.
Yes.
But I
Yes,
feel
queen.
like one of the first times where I was kind of amazed by the art of storytelling in a movie was actually Rugrats in Paris.
Oh, nice.
That orange cassette tape.
Yeah.
I think, I wasn't used to something making me feel that way,
Mhm.
Like it's such a heavy fucking movie about like adoption, about like love, about like overcoming your past trauma, also about accepting new futures and shit. Like I think that was the first time where I was like, "Whoa, wait a I'm confused about how I feel cuz I'm really sad and happy at the same time and I don't know any of these people." And it's like I love the Rugrats cartoon. Thought it was the best.
The movies are better than the cartoon.
Well, fucking, wouldn't have the movies without the cartoon.
I remember
know.
in the one with Dill.
That's the movie, not
Okay, the
Paris.
first one.
Rugrats.
Oh,
Paris is where
I
you
was
get
emotional.
Kimmy and her
Yes.
mom.
Yes.
So
I was definitely emotional during the Dill one when they're lost in the woods and stuff.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And then Angelica sings
I definitely
one
remember.
way
I definitely
or
were crying.
another. And I was just like, this is hilarious.
Cynthia.
But hey, man, every Halloween episode of every one of those shows is better than everything.
That's true.
Like,
They're always fun.
Always.
Always a blast. Did you recollect, Jesse?
I mean, I have two, and one that I like. No, one's live action, one's animated.
Okay.
The animated one is Toy Story 2 because I remember seeing that in the
Two.
theater. Oh, 2. Because obviously one sets up a perfect premise. That movie came out the year I was born, 1995.
Lit.
And it was with me the whole time I was alive, essentially. Like, I don't remember a time that Toy Story wasn't involved in my world, the original one. And I remember seeing Toy Story 2 in theaters a few years later and being conscious enough to remember sitting in the theater watching it. And I remember when all the stuff goes down with, haha, Jessie, and they go into like all the stuff that had happened
When
with
she loved
with
me.
her. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I just that was like a mic drop right there. It was like
Yeah.
that was a game changer. Like somebody had pulled the rug out from under me. I was like, "What? What? You didn't tell me that you could do this?"
You'd say it could be this sad.
Yeah. It was too real. It's too much.
Um,
But past that, I'd probably say honestly it's Jaws.
oh, nice.
Being like, because I can remember always watching the making of and that being super like imprinted into my mind at the time. Like I always thought about watching and consuming everything in the making of and all the stories and all the behind the scenes stuff. I thought it was crazy the way that they made that whole movie.
Mm.
And it was certainly one of the movies that was formative in me wanting to make movies down the line.
All right. Well, I have another one that's live action,
Mhm.
but sort of on the opposite end of like the good spectrum, and that's the It movie.
I was literally, that's one of the things I just wrote down. That was definitely
You mean
one.
the TV movie with
Yeah.
Tim Curry? Oh, that was definitely a formative one
Yeah,
for me too.
It
scarred me.
it was literally the scariest thing I had ever witnessed, and I didn't know movies could be that scary.
Yep.
And I didn't know that they could prey on like real, like such, like I had really bad arachnophobia as a kid.
Oh
And
god.
I was
Me
just-
too.
And a fear of clowns?
No, like that's the thing. To this day, clowns do not scare me. I'm
Oh,
just like
okay.
they're silly.
I was like,
Like,
I was
well, they're
hoping
not-
that it wasn't too full.
They're not scary, but like the fact that this killer clown at the end of the movie turns into a giant man-eating spider.
Yeah.
I was just like, how did you know that that's the last thing I ever wanted?
Because it knows what you're afraid of.
It's scary.
It was the movie that made me afraid of clowns for most of my life, where it was like, I see a clown, I gotta run. I don't trust them.
You know?
Because I was like 5, like just playing in the living room, and then somebody started at my grandma's, and somebody was just like watching it, and they're like, maybe Frankie shouldn't be in here. And I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm not watching.
That's what you get.
And of course, I sat there and watched
Watched
and
the whole
was
fucking
mortified.
I remember
Just the Georgie and the drain pipe. I was like, what's happening? This
Why?
is literally the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Why?
I
Why would
remember
you
the
do that?
scene with Beverly in the bathroom being particularly scary too.
I mean, it's all fucked, man, as a child.
Yeah, it was scary.
To the go ahead.
Well,
the way that it was brought on to me was, it's literally like straight out of a fucking like like sitcom where it's like, hey, Mom, can I go hang out with my friend? Oh, you got to take your brother. Fine, I'll take my brother. And then you take your brother and then you lock him in a room and you go, you're watching this movie. And they grab the first VHS they see, and it just so happened to be it. And then that was it for me.
And that was it for you?
That was it for me. Put in the cassette, pressed play, and then locked the door and was like, I'll be back later. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm watching this movie now. It shouldn't be too terrible.
Jesus.
What?
How old did you say you were? I'm sorry.
I was like 8.
Oof. That's young. That's too young. It's literally too young. When you brought up Toy Story 2, you reminded me that, like, when I was trying to say, like, there was obviously some young obsession. Like, my aunt recently told me a story that, like, they would, like, go, like, me and my sisters and cousins would all stay there for, like, a whole weekend, and then they'd all be out in, like, the yard doing stuff, and I'd be like, Toy Story 2, again, again. And I'd just, like, sit there and be like, again. I was, like, 4 years old, and, like, nope, this is what I'm doing. I just want to watch Toy Story 2.
Day.
Just again. And I was like, I don't remember that at all, but I believe it. I'm like, sounds right. Like, love Toy Story 2. I'm sure I did something in between.
Dude, keep going. Keep going.
Just that, like, there's that old ingrained quality, but the one that I distinctly remember was all the original Star Wars. Just being like, that was the first time where I was like, I felt invested in something. And then when the good ending happened, at least in the first and third, I was like, just as jazzed, where I was like, we did it. We did do it. Thank you. I was a part of this journey. Like, cool. And then, and sitting here, I thought of one other, like, weird one that it reminded me of, which is Rebel Without a Cause, actually. Because Chelsea.
Interesting.
Because my oldest sister had to watch it for a film class she was taking. So, like, I just, like, was like, movie, and, like, crawled in the room and was like, I'm watching this too now. And then just sobbing at the end, like, as, like, a child, and then being done watching the movie and laying in my bed and still just sobbing. Just like, why did that have to happen? Why did he have to die? It's like, I'm not okay with this. Like, I didn't agree to this. It just felt so bad, and that, like, feeling of empathy, it just pulses. But that's the only thing I remember from that movie, literally. I don't remember anything else that happens, just how much it made me sad. And the first time I think a movie ever did that. But that's the power of movies, baby.
That's the power of movies. That's how I feel about Titanic.
Yeah. Have we talked about that on mic?
I don't know. I feel it's the first movie. Well, if we haven't, it's the first movie that ever make me cry. I just remember standing in my basement, being a 5-year-old, and just being like, "Why did he have to die? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why was he frozen?"
As soon as they start playing the instruments, I was in tears as a child, just like, oh no,
just bawling in my. I remember my sisters like not knowing I was there and just hearing me crying and turning around and being like, what the fuck? Are you okay? What's wrong? And me just pointing to the TV as the credits rolled. It's okay.
The weird thing I'm now thinking about is I feel like that effect couldn't happen to a kid on Hugo, but it could easily happen to an adult watching Hugo.
Yes.
But then a kid could also still sit and watch and possibly love Hugo.
See, I see it as a beneficial, like, children's movie, like a movie aimed towards a younger audience, but I don't know, I feel like I garnered a lot from this as an adult too, so
it definitely feels more in conversation with, like, Silence and the Irishman than not, like, than any other two movies in his canon, like, just like the old contemplative Marty trying to leave something behind for his what did we ever confirm that? Was it for his kids?
It's for his daughter. His daughter Francesca gifted him the book like years before he started making it, and she gifted it to him hoping one day he would make a movie out of it.
And I just remembered the Buzz quote of the, like, she's 20 now, so yeah, she would have been like 12 when he made it. He was just like, I want to make sure my kids can watch one of my movies.
How old was Marty when he had Francesca then?
So he would have been
50?
He's 77 now. If she's 20, that means he was 57.
Damn, you beat my dad, Sassy. I thought
Is
40
that who he brought to the Oscars with him this year?
probably.
Eminem performance happened.
I remember
Marty
like,
looked like he was on Xanax or some shit.
probably is the old man.
It's like, Jesus Christ. Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Turn it off, Anthony.
I don't know. Actually, he has other kid. Well, that one kid's 43, and one kid is 54. So it's probably her, Francesca.
53 and 54.
No, 53.
Did he-
No, 54 and 43.
Did he just like adopt Francesca?
Yeah,
Who's her-
come on, bro.
Who's her
Dude,
mom?
David Lynch
Born and
and
bred.
Mick Jagger both had children after they were 70.
David Lynch has like a baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So does Mick Jagger. They both
Yeah.
have like children who are under 5. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Are you joking right now?
No.
Swear to God. Swear to God. Swear I'm a fucking. Where's this kid? Where's his newest kid? Okay, David Lynch's newest kid was not when he was 70. She was born. No, wait, that's spouse. Never mind. Hold on. 28. Not her. 8 years old. David Lynch has an 8-year-old daughter right now, and he is 74 years old. Mick Jagger. This is the stuff people want on their Hugo podcast. I'm looking it up.
Well, it's just like Sassy, my man.
Is that good?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Like, I thought 48 was old. That's how old my dad was when he squirted me out.
It's old. It is old.
Oh, enough.
He Mick Jagger. Last thing, goddammit. Mick Jagger has a 6-year-old kid. He's 77. So Mick Jagger
Oh
was
my-
71 years old.
Oh my god!
Why? Like you're gonna die, and it's gonna be weird for that kid growing up without their dad, who's also Mick Jagger.
My dad died when I was 14.
Whew.
I started high school with my mega famous father
Like arguably 10 most famous people in the world.
Yeah.
dying.
Maybe not at 10 anymore, but
He
at
was.
least in the conversation.
When he dies, it'll be a big fucking deal. Trust me.
His lips are immortalized in a logo forever.
Those are his lips.
I mean, I think it's an impression of his.
hilarious.
You're not talking about those fat ass lips from the Rolling Stones,
Oh,
are
he
you?
is. I mean, look at his fat ass lips. Just Google Mick Jagger lips.
Oh my god!
He's got the shape.
He does have fat ass lips.
Well, there's one in the bottom row going full duck face.
Ooh, that's the Jagger I know.
People compare him and Steven Tyler a lot.
I mean, yeah. That
What's
makes
Steven
sense.
Tyler's oldest kid?
Oh, dude. Steven Tyler's got an old kid and a relatively young one, I'm pretty sure.
I'll find out. We're already fucking here.
Let's just go down the list
Well,
of
Liv
celebrities.
Tyler's 43. She's younger than I was suspecting. Mia Tyler's 41. Chelsea Tyler, who's that? 31. And last one, 29.
Oh.
Taj. Named one of his kids Taj.
Taj Tyler.
Taj
no.
Mihal.
Taj Monroe Tallarico.
Poor kid.
Probably wasn't like, I need a different last name.
Probably.
Get me away. Get me away from this.
Unless that's Steven Tyler's real last name.
Bum, bum.
Don't do this. Let's leave it
You can cut
as a mystery.
as much out as you want. That is his real last name, Stephen Victor Tallarico.
Woo! Good thing my mom gave me all that Steven Tyler knowledge in the back.
Shout out your mom.
Who's not listening?
Did you guys know
Maybe.
this was a 3D
No.
movie?
Yeah, we
Well,
saw
that's
it in
us very-
3D.
We did originally with my mom.
Yeah. Shout out again.
Hey,
Patty!
and, we also that was loud.
It was real.
We also saw it with Bridget at the time. So that was crazy. 9 years ago.
Yeah, that's the only time I'd seen this. And you see, Jesse, or did you ever rewatch it?
I watched it a couple times on home video, I think.
Home video.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Marty, I liked it.
Condom.
Hugo.
I think that is what I would do to him
Yeah.
if there was any movie that I could like try to grab his attention.
Hugo.
I liked it.
I mean, the Academy and the critics
They loved
also
Hugo.
liked it.
They loved Hugo.
How
for
did
some-
Hugo do at the box office?
All right, hold on. All right, we'll start there.
Let's just get out of there.
The budget is not an official number you can find, It's estimated between 150 and 170. And I saw one number say between 156 and 170, so I just looked up 160. I was like, split. Let's call it the middle.
So that's more than The Irishman, right?
um,
Irishman's 150, I thought.
I thought 159. So
Ooh,
just about the
159.
same. Just about the same. Which today is 184.3 million. There's still 15% inflation,
Damn.
and it made 185.8, which is 214 today. So it made like 25 more $1 million, and it is considered a very big bomb. It is considered a failure, even though a movie makes $25 million. That's still not considered good.
When
It was a critical darling.
When you
but-
spend 160 million, you're expected to make more than 25,
Right?
which is why it's technically a bomb, even though this movie slaps.
It's a
It
good
does
movie,
slap.
but we did say while we were watching it, this is a weird movie with a capital W. you
I
know?
remember walking out of the theater. I remember not being excited to go see it, especially after Shutter Island.
Right.
And then remembering leaving the theater saying it was one of the best movies of the year. And I remember thinking, because I was like, that was not at all the movie I thought we were going to see. And it was fucking weird.
Mhm.
It's different. It is not at all the trailers were just like, look at this boy who lives in the train station,
Mhm.
which is like not even relevant in a way. Like it obviously is.
It's odd how the
huge.
movie works as sort of a hodgepodge. It's almost
It's a
kind of
hangout
like
movie.
Bill and Ted, like in a
How
way.
so?
Like where like Hugo is a fictional character in theory because he's written in modern day, traveling back in time to a true story of George Méliès to like
Be there.
be the surrogate to like show his rise from his fall.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Is that my way of plugging Bill and Ted 3 Face the Music?
Yeah, we're sponsored by them this week. Come see
We're not.
Face the Music this summer. I don't know. I do want to see it.
The drive-ins and on demand everywhere. That's just
That's
a
a plug
helpful plug
for a movie none of
Keanu
us
and
have
Alex
seen.
Winter.
We have no personal stake in this.
I do
or
like Bill and
financial.
Ted.
The first two slap.
They're good stoner movies.
Probably. I've never watched them stone.
Me either, but they got me.
They gotta be. They are stoners.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's not what we're talking about. We're
So
talking
great.
about, we're talking about Hugo. And you were saying that it's similar how? Oh, because the history. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Hold on. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Hugo. Hugo, the little boy who lives in the train
Yes.
and hangs out with
Who
In
lives
the
in the
train?
clocks.
and
Little boy who lives in the clocks of the robot man built by George Méliès, who was owned by his dad,
when
Who
it's
also
his last
worked in the
connection to
train.
his father.
who blew up in a fire.
Do you guys? I think this movie is
Jude Law.
literally like, how do I take the thing I always do and do it for children?
Yeah.
It
How do I
literally
do this for Francesca?
Feels like a Scorsese movie,
How do I do it for her? Huh?
just boiled
How do I do
down to PG, just like broken.
He's done PG before. Not like this.
Kundun?
Age of Innocence.
Kundun is PG. Age of Innocence is PG.
Forget.
I'm
No,
pretty
Kundun's
sure.
not PG. Age of Innocence is PG.
Is Kundun?
Because this is his
PG-13.
first PG movie in 18 years.
Yeah, Kundun's PG.
Well, then there's definitely one in the 70s, and I don't think it's Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, but maybe it is. That'd be insane.
That's
Getting
It's
Harvey
PG?
Keitel. Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore.
PG.
You bitch! You double crossed me!
They didn't have PG-13, man. It was PG or R.
I mean, fucking Jaws was like G,
PG?
wasn't
PG.
it? It was
PG.
PG? Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious, though. That movie is horrifying. for
Airplane was
children.
PG.
Boobies.
Boobies. Two of them. Got 'em.
That was probably a watershed moment as a child. Like, what the literal hell?
What?
The last
It's
thing.
like a jump scare.
when you're not expecting it.
Yeah. It's like, whoa.
Excuse me?
Nothing more formative to a young. Never mind. Just seeing a pair of boobs. All right.
She
cut
and Pierre
that.
Bouche.
Cut that. Get that out of here. I don't know what we were talking about. Hugo, the boy who lives in the train,
And the clocks.
in the clocks at the train, and his dad. Scorsese movie. It's a Scorsese movie.
Yes.
Fucking protagonist who can't let go of
no,
his tortured past.
Yeah, it's a Scorsese movie through and through. I
A
was gonna
girl
say-
who shows up and is like, "Let me help," and he's like, "Fuck you." Okay, and she has the literal key to
there's
his
literally
heart.
an ideal shot like there is in like so many of the movies.
Literal
Was there?
key to his
Yeah, remember both of us were like, "Up there it is."
I
The
don't.
one
I
where,
don't.
like, the
Oh,
one-
with Emily Mortimer.
was there with her too?
It was
I thought
only-
there was with a Chloe Grace Moretz too, because the whole movie we were like, Are they implying that they're like romantically like into each other?
And then they touched the hand.
Then they touched hands, and then like I'm pretty sure she kissed him on cheek. Like it was like okay, that's affirmation.
She does kiss him
Unfortunately.
on the cheek, but that's closer to the end.
Yeah. I think there's the like halo glow moment with Emily Mortimer when Sacha
Probably.
Baron Cohen is staring at her.
Yes,
But then
he's so good. In this.
still true. I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry, amateur hour. I just couldn't resist. I am eating candy. I don't know why. I'm high. I told you. Give me some more weed. Also true to the Scorsese model, though, an array of characters that favors the characters and their growth over a literal plot,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is the weird, disjointed element of the film, because it starts out seeming like it's going to be this like plot-oriented journey of this boy discovering something, and that's just literally not what it is. It's almost like a fake out.
No.
You know what it almost reminded me of a little bit, which I hadn't talked about.
What?
But it gave me Tati vibes.
I could see that. It definitely
like all
has
those
the
side
moments.
characters and all the little plots that are just cute and fun, sweet. The weird asides with celebrities like Django Reinhardt, who's not Django Reinhardt, and then Salvador Dali is in there, also same year as Midnight in Paris. And then on top of that, I think Winston Churchill has a cameo. A couple other people historically.
This is better than fucking Midnight in Paris.
Oh yeah,
I
by leaps
didn't-
and bounds.
I didn't catch any of
Leaps and
those people.
bounds.
Like at all.
They were like in the cafe and shit.
The guy who was the acoustic guitar player is Django Reinhardt.
And
Yes.
Dali was hanging out in the cafe.
You can see that mustache from a mile away.
Though I do like the Dali in Midnight in Paris better. Adrian
Dali.
Brody. And he's like that.
I haven't forgotten that
Yeah,
performance.
I know. It's literally ingrained. I'm pretty sure he's in one scene, and that is ingrained in my brain.
He's good. Wasn't he nominated for an Oscar?
No.
Oh, I thought he might have been.
No. That'd be literally
Nobody
insane.
was nominated for this, right?
Oh, no performances were. I forgot we were going to talk about that.
It was all
This-
technical end.
This was nominated for 11 Academy Awards, I think. Is that right? Does that sound right?
Yes. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, nominated for 11, and it won 5. It won cinematography, which actually shocked me. I was like, wait,
Robert
what?
Richardson.
Yeah, won again, right after Aviator. Well,
He's
soon
considered one
after
of the
Aviator.
all-time best cinematographers.
It also won sound mixing and sound editing, which makes sense. It won visual effects, which is iffy, but probably makes sense in 2011.
Well, you know,
And it also won art direction. It was nominated for Best Picture, Directing, Adapted Screenplay, Film Editing, Costume Design, and Original Score, funny enough. But what were you going to say about the visual effects?
did you hear James Cameron's quote
You-
about Hugo?
You had brought it up after the picture, but share it with us.
That it was what he said, quote, was the best use of 3D he had ever seen in movies.
Including his own.
Yeah, including his own, which is a lot.
When did he
for
say
James
that?
Cameron
Was
to
it
say.
in 2011?
I think that must have been when it came out.
That makes sense. 3D is such a tricky
I
technology.
mean, that was after Avatar, even.
yeah.
And he was like, he did it.
Probably made a use of the technology James Cameron figured out.
Is James Cameron as much of a fuck as I always assumed he was, or is he just the biggest perfectionist and money hog, I suppose?
It's probably both.
Budget hog.
The only reason I think he's a fuck is that he's like sitting on like 3 Avatar sequels.
I think
he
they're
hasn't
still
made
making
them. No, they
they're-
haven't even made the first sequel.
They're still making them.
Yeah.
And they're making them all together.
Yeah.
They've been filming, though, for like a couple years. They
No
started
way.
physically filming, I think, in 2017.
You're kidding.
I'm pretty sure they're like still filming, and he keeps seeing things. He's like, we're fucking up. I got to fix this. It's stuck in this. I got to fix
It's like
this.
David Fincher on ayahuasca.
But it's like when you
Underwater. They're literally all underwater.
this has been his obsession his whole career. He's just like, get me in the water. I need to get down there.
We will figure it out.
He wants to go to the abyss.
And he has like 4 documentaries about subverse.
I saw Ghosts of the Abyss in IMAX.
Was it all right?
When I was a kid, I thought this shit was cool as fuck. Seeing the Titanic footage underwater, that shit was mind blowing.
Should we do Cameron?
I've been talking about it. I want to
know.
go through those movies. Those would be fun.
It'd be fun.
Terminators, Alien, True Lies,
Avatar.
Titanic,
Avatar,
Avatar,
Piranha 2.
Piranha 2. I think there's another one in there somewhere.
I think we named. The Abyss.
The Abyss is the other one. That's it.
He only has 7 or some shit.
Oh,
6 or 7.
okay.
Yeah,
That wouldn't be too bad.
Makes it appealing.
Yeah, relatively contemporary.
All right, Cameron, you're out there.
There's
You
people.
got a
There's
shot.
people before him. There's people standing in line. Before
Oh,
him.
certainly. But the man had something to say about our boy Sassy and our little boy Hugo, who lives in the clocks and the trains.
I do remember that was in the midst of the fad of 3D, which had started before Avatar, and then Avatar made it crazy, where it felt like the month there was the new 3D movie, and it was becoming this thing where it was just a normalcy that they would have the stack of 3D glasses just like outside the movie theaters waiting, And I do remember being the snotty young cinephile I was, being like, oh, fuck 3D, it's not good, it's just annoying, blah, blah, blah. But I do remember not being bothered by Hugo's. Like, I specifically
thought
remember
it enhanced the movie at the time.
See, I remember it that way, but I can't say for sure.
Now, that was something I wanted to bring up, is that I think that it was kind of a detriment watching it the way we did, despite having a very nice home system here. But I want to see that shit in 3D again.
I would prefer it.
M. Night Shyamalan ruined 3D for me.
I think that would make it more immersive. But
What
how
did he
that
make
happen,
in 3D?
Last Avatar or Last Airbender? Last Avatar?
I don't know. That was the last 3D movie I saw, and I was just like, "That's the last 3D movie I'll ever see."
Really?
You fucked it up. It looked so shitty.
I mean,
and
I just believe
and
that.
It made the bad movie worse.
Have you ever seen a movie that you felt the 3D was incredible?
Shark Boy and Lava Girl with the blue and red glasses.
Yeah, speaking of Robert Rodriguez, Spy Kids 3D.
Shit blew my mind. I was like, fuck yes.
As a kid.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When I heard that was happening, I was like, give it to me.
Yeah, you could play. They had the game online. Like, you could traverse the levels. I was like, yes, it's like I'm in the movie.
Yeah, those movies were formative.
They were.
I'll never
the Spy
forget
Kids
when they
whipped.
put that stupid little like microwave popcorn bag in the microwave, hit the button, and it was just a full meal for McDonald's. I was like, what? I need that.
It's like the Jimmy
Mom?
Neutron thing where it scans your tongue and gives you exactly what you want.
Yep.
Give me that. Give me that. Or the Timmy Turner, the books that you can
Why
read.
isn't
by chewing
anyone
the gum.
taking notes on this shit?
Yeah, stop copying the scary shit from like Orwell and
It's like,
start doing
let's
this.
Bring back dinosaurs, but really this time.
No.
Leave the beaches open.
It's crazy that, the only movies we have about bringing dinosaurs back, everybody dies. And we're like, yeah, let's do it.
Well, that's just a movie.
You guys.
Jurassic Park helped evolve what the literal science we know about dinosaurs. But God damn it, Spielberg is a friend of Marty's. Who do we like more?
Dude,
Spielberg literally doesn't fucking
Speaking
compare.
of dinosaur, this is a little dirty. This is a completely off topic thing, but it just came up in my head.
Right.
Dinosaurs.
Okay.
Dinosaur bones. Museum. Bring a baby. The whole movie's about him trying to find a bone.
Yes.
God damn Howard Hawks.
That's not even Howard Hawks. That's
Fuck.
all old movies.
I know.
You had to sneak it in. You
So
weren't allowed to
fucking
talk about
funny.
it.
I don't know how I didn't pick up on that until literally just now.
That's the
I mean, I always looked at it like Uncut Gems in a way, like where their relationship just mirrored Howie and Julia, and the bone was like the gem. It was just like the precious thing that he needed to get in an interesting way, and their chemistry was almost similar to me.
I don't see that.
Oh, come on.
I literally don't at all, actually.
He doesn't want her at all, but he needs her.
I don't get that vibe from either of those
Until
movies.
he learns that he wants her.
Sorry.
Sorry for putting out the blend.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It was burning. You didn't want it.
I did want it. I've been looking.
But that was it. I just wanted to bring it up. I thought it was fine.
You wanted to bring up baby?
Yes.
You wanted to bring up baby?
I wanted to bring up Hugo.
I want to
Clock
bring
tower.
up Hugo. God damn it. We can't
I
divert
wanted
this
to
much
hang
from
off
Hugo. Like Safety Last.
The clock, like Safety Last, because it's a reference to a movie that Marty likes.
There's probably way more references than we even realize.
Probably littered through this.
Like the train about to crash or crashing you through is directly calling the
Final
the
Destination.
train. The train arrives at the station, which they watch in the movie.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even put that together.
Oh.
There's just little shit like that throughout. Or there's the clear. Is that a Buster Keaton or is that a Chaplin bit? When
He rides on the train
when
wheels.
he gets caught by the train. When Sacha Baron Cohen gets caught on the train and he's being dragged.
I think it's his groin hit by the suitcase.
I don't think that's a direct rip, but I think that happens in one of those two idiots movies. I call them idiots because they're idiots. They're
It might be Buster Keaton.
I don't know for sure. Tell us tell us our email. Go to the beginning. You'll hear it. Okay. Smooth, right?
It's okay, everybody. Before Frank said any of that, I just jammed a bunch of marbles in his mouth. So
Okay, go on.
Wait, Paul Schrader showed up? What happened?
I should have.
Paul, get the fuck out.
I should have wrote silence.
What do you
Stop
think
it.
Paul Schrader's version of this movie would have been?
Hugo gets killed by the train.
Hugo is masturbating drunk in the corner of his room with the automaton.
The uncle character doesn't.
Using the automaton?
Yes, it's jerking him off.
Sorry, kids.
The uncle character doesn't exist. Hugo's the alcoholic.
He steals booze from the people at the train station.
Ray Winstone is scary when he enters this movie.
It's hilarious. Hey, how are you? I'm your uncle. Come with me. Your father's dead.
And then out of nowhere later, yeah, Ray Winstone's dead.
He's just straight up dead. There's even a death in Hugo.
It's literally, it's a plot
Well,
device
there's
simply
two.
so Sacha Baron Cohen can be like, well, if he's not fixing the clocks, who is?
I mean, it's good.
I like
works.
it. I mean, come on. You introduce the uncle character, and then it's just like, well, what happened to him? He left, and I don't think he's going to come back, so I just keep doing it so I don't have to go to the orphanage.
When they're
It's
having
like,
that
damn,
scene
you
fixing the
need
clock
me.
like way up in the roof of the building, and it's Chloe Moretz.
Oh, and it drops the wrench.
Yeah, but they're just like talking about their plan. He's like, well, I got to do my work and fix the clocks. And then all of a sudden it just drops the wrench. Like, Sacha Baron Cohen screams up at him, you filthy drunk.
Okay, we got to talk
Are
performances
you
now.
inebriated?
We got to start talking performances, I think. Sacha Baron Cohen.
Kills it.
Is it the GOAT
Is he the GOAT?
in this movie?
Who's the...
Who's the best performance?
It's him or Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley is great.
Ben Kingsley's really fucking
But
good.
Martin Scorsese
You're
said
cruel.
that when he thought about making this movie,
You're
he
cruel.
was like, no, he only thought of Ben Kingsley for playing Millier.
He looks like him.
He really does.
If you look up what Millier's actually looked like Ben Kingsley's got a pretty stark resemblance. Look at this. Look at this motherfucker. It is Ben Kingsley. They did such a good job.
Oh my God.
You're right.
So I think Kingsley's tapped into the emotional. He is the emotional heart of the movie.
Yeah.
It's not Hugo. It's
No.
literally Ben Kingsley.
Hugo's our surrogate.
Yes. Which is it's
And it's told through the eyes of Chloe Moretz, surprise, at the end of the movie.
yeah, it was dumb.
The whole movie is from her perspective. Makes sense coming from the person who had fallen in love with movies in the movie.
I wonder.
Because was it Hugo who had, no, it was
Her.
Wait, she'd never seen a movie?
Right, because Millier's was like, no movies.
That's right. And then Hugo takes her to her first movie.
and
So
she blows her
that's,
mind.
and that's probably why it's so crazy the whole time.
I wonder.
The Headspace movie, god damn you. Sassy!
He's a master. He's a master for a reason. I think.
Get out of my head!
I think. Hold on, I got it. Don't worry. I think that I was about to say. God damn it! I'm sorry, Howard. I was about to say that I think a flaw in the movie is that it's named Hugo. Like it should have some other name because it's like it is misleading to have a movie named after a character where they're not either like the like person who's changing or they're not. Well, I guess he does change, but they're not. I don't know. I thought it was a goddamn flaw because it feels like it's such an ensemble piece, but considering
Hugo's
it's
the thing that brings them all together.
the thing that brings
Or
them
is
all
it the
together,
movie?
and the girl who theoretically or whatever loves him is writing the story.
Right.
It makes sense that she's centering the focus on him. and
Right.
It's like, fine. I buy it a little more, but I do think it sets off the wrong expectation. Your movie's called Hugo. You're introduced immediately to Hugo. You're like, here's my movie about Hugo. Let's go.
Yeah.
And about
Another piece of shit, sassy protagonist, thief, scum.
he's not that bad.
No, I'm being funny.
So Sasha or Kingsley are definitely the fucking MVPs.
What? Not Asa Butterfield?
Okay, him and Chloe Grace Moretz are not very good.
Not great.
I don't mind Chloe Grace Moretz's performance. Plays like it seems like she's doing whatever.
Felt
She's
like
doing
she's got to
theater,
do.
theater kid doing the accent.
She's
you know?
doing Hermione Granger. That's all I see.
I
It's
just
like
thought she
you're
watched
just-
those movies a lot.
Yeah,
prior
that's
to.
literally all I could see the whole time. Was just like you just are doing whatever Emma Watson does.
That's derivative.
It's
It
not
is-
Leviosa. It's Leviosa.
You don't know a book or whatever the fuck she says. I don't know.
You don't like books? And then
So-
she looks at him.
You don't like
Okay,
books?
that
Tell
look,
me, you don't
that
like books?
that look that she gave him, I understood why Hugo was so fucking pissed. Because if someone gave me that look as a kid, I didn't want to hit him. Just you don't like books?
I think
Are you a piece of shit, idiot, fucking stupid loser?
yes. I don't think Asa Butterfield or Asa. What? How do you say his name? Who gives a
Asia.
fuck? No, I don't think he's horrible, but more often than not, it was just like that's a child acting. You're right. I think you said that during the movie, and I think I might have even been like, no, he's better than
When
that.
he had that emotional freak out moment where like punched the chair, and I was
Yeah,
like,
that
oh,
was bad.
Asa.
But
dude.
the good one was when he had the montage remembering his dad, and he was emotional, and
Yes.
it kept cutting back to the single of him crying.
We love
like-
a good Jude Law cameo.
We love a good Jude Law cameo. Why should he have been in Shutter Island? Somebody he could have been the Ruffalo.
He could have been Teddy.
I don't think Jude Law would have been good as Teddy,
All right,
screaming for his dead kids.
maybe.
Picture Jude Law right now.
He's great. I love Jude.
He might be able to pull it off.
As a Butterfield.
I think Jude Law's underrated.
I mean-
I definitely enjoyed Sasha, the guy who so Ben Kingsley fucking kills it. He plays. I don't know. I liked his sort of reserved performance from him.
I would say, yeah, reserved. That's good.
Obviously, not knowing who the real Millier is, can't really make a comparison in terms of how accurate he's portraying him. But I really liked his performance. But I mean, I was just really excited whenever Sacha Baron Cohen appeared on the screen because I was like, well, they're making him like he's got a purpose. Like I'm still like nervous and scared whenever I see him. So it's like you're not completely this person I can laugh off, but I also know that while you're doing that, like I'm gonna laugh because of who you are.
I mean, he is literally a trained clown or whatever, a classically trained clown, or the buffoon. That's the other one, right? It's either you're a clown or a buffoon, and there's some weird difference, but like he's trained in that art.
Buffoonery?
Yes. So like, and I think that's what like silent film comedy is, and he is perfect at it. He's literally perfect in this. It's him. He is the best performance. Can I?
Maximilian.
I'm gonna
Calamity.
Sacha Baron Cohen just commits so hard to every role that he gets.
to anything he does. I genuinely thought Mama Jean was played by Sigourney Weaver. I thought
Okay,
that was
like,
Sigourney Weaver.
but like I
whole
understood
time.
because by the end of the movie, I was like, I know they're gonna like yell at me for saying so, but like, is that her?
I thought until literally this moment it was her. I'm looking at the IMDb. I'm like, oh, it's literally not Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
I don't
knew
know.
that.
I didn't.
I
I
didn't
don't
know
know
who it
how.
was.
It's Helen McCrory.
What else? Is
Oh,
she
She's
in?
been in Harry Potter's Narcissa Malfoy.
Oh, she's Draco's mom.
Yes, sure.
Fucking nerd.
And
I've seen them all, man.
Yeah. So that's her.
Not the most recent Fantastic Beasts, but everything up to that.
That's her biggest thing, and she's fantastic too. Her character's a little like just there to cry, but she's good at it.
That's true. She's also there to provide like the, sassy surrogate for the muse.
I like when she's like, you guys have to go, like you can't be in here. And then they're like, she used to be an actress, and she's like, oh, let's go watch one of those fucking movies real quick.
Let's go. Be quick.
Shh.
That was
I
gross.
thought you're just about to throw up.
It felt like I was gonna throw up. Honestly, fuck. Emily Mortimer's fine. She don't really have much
Yeah.
to do. Who are
Who's
the
that?
She
old?
stands with Ceci's Flowers, which we haven't
Oh.
necessarily talked about on Mike a lot, but I don't know if
Every
y'all have been
single
noticing
movie.
all the fucking flowers that are popping up left and fucking right.
Every single one. of
Like a
them.
lot of them. Like a lot of flowers.
I don't think there's one.
And I don't know why people don't talk about this. Like I've looked it up, like Scorsese and flowers, and people, it's only stuff about Killer of the Flower Moon. Like there's
What?
nothing
Like,
correlating
every movie,
Scorsese's continued motif of flowers in his movies.
every movie has flowers.
No.
No, not the
Literally
way Ceci
what?
does. And they're always the same like color palette and like
What? Every movie has flowers. Just
Vibrant
pause
saturation.
and think about that statement. No, you dummy. And his
Dude.
are always highlighted. That's the difference.
Well, they're just
too.
always gorgeous and like huge set pieces.
And they're
usually.
pulling the eye because they're always contrasting whatever's around them. Like
Mhm.
your eye is literally always drawn to the flowers. I don't
Yeah.
think we would notice it so often.
I think it's just it almost speaks to the idea in my head maybe of Scorsese's focus on humanity, because there's such an unbiased nature to plants, or
It's-
specifically flowers.
it's got
Flowers are
the
the most
life
beautiful
cycle.
form of life, that is unintelligent.
we also give it for every major occasion. Like flowers aren't appropriate.
Yeah.
Even death, birth,
Yeah,
marriage,
you're right. It's always no
graduations,
one's ever sad
birthdays.
to get flowers.
Yeah.
Everyone's always happy about getting some flowers.
And they live and die just like us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe is it that? Is it literally? And then they're good looking.
Yeah, yeah.
They're a nice thing.
Have
that
we
can-
cracked the flower code?
It only
I
took us
remember
to
in early
Hugo.
episodes, I was always like, "What are the flowers?
What does it mean? What does it mean?
He's doing this a lot.
The
I can't
number
wait. He's
space.
like in The Irishman, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna get there's that shot where it's like,
It
"Hey,
lingers.
real quick, I just want to like show you these flowers."
And don't blood get on the flowers in
It
the one
might.
scene
It might. Yeah.
when they kill the guy in the barbershop?
Yeah. It might. I'm curious
coming
if
to
we're
an
gonna see
end.
any flowers in this movie tonight or in Silence. I know we get him in The Irishman.
And now we finally get it in the title: Killer in the Flower Moon.
Interesting.
And the moon, the night,
The Hugo.
the dark side. Hugo, the light.
This is a light movie.
It's a very light.
Oh,
movie. It's
last cast members. The most Tati people. The like old man and lady who were courting each other with the
who's,
dogs.
Harry's uncle.
Yeah, another Harry
Harry
fucking
Potter.
Potter
Yeah.
person.
But I mean, hey, isn't it not just like if you were British, you became like a staple cast member of Harry Potter at some point
Yes,
down the line?
it seemed like it.
At least if you were a British actor of any note. It's the way that American actors are in Marvel movies.
Now I just said that this movie is light, and you gave us a whimper, Brandon. I'm Frank.
I'm Jesse.
Brandon.
You don't think this is a light movie?
It's definitely dark. Like, I don't know, it felt heavy when I
it's
was
heavy.
watching it.
It's heavy, but is it
Well,
dark?
I think it
Do you think
has
it would
the
have been as-
happiest ending.
Do you think it would have been as heavy as a kid if you saw this at 10 years old?
I mean, the only troubling scene is his dad exploding, which is really bad.
It's so cartoonish.
Yeah,
He's
it's the
fucking
worst scene in the
emo
movie.
the whole movie, bro. He's just like so sad and like humdrum and
Yeah, but
just
do you
like,
know how many
I
movies
need
are
to-
about a sad kid going through life like, I'm sad and I don't know what to do? And the movie's still nice.
not a lot.
That's not true.
Like what?
Don't put me on the spot.
Well, The
like that.
Goonies is one.
They're not sad.
Yes, they're going to lose their house. They all got to move away.
Yeah, but throughout their adventure in the tunnel, they're just like, we're gonna get this gold and we
No,
don't have
then
to
they're like,
move."
we're going to die.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. Ash is a little shit emo head boy.
Is that fucking Jason Schwartzman?
Yeah.
Jason
But I
Schwartzman.
don't know. I don't really like.
Jason? Oh, because he's a fox.
Fantastic Mr. Fox isn't.
He's more real than you.
Is it a kids movie?
Yeah.
Fantastic Mr.
I mean,
Fox?
I don't think kids like it, but
They
it's a kids
peddled
movie.
it as a kid's movie for
It
sure.
for
Because, like,
sure is a kids
I
movie,
feel
but
like
I
if I
don't know
saw
if
that
kids
as a
like it.
kid, it would freak me out. It's just like, why do you guys
Well, it's
look,
the same thing as
look
where the
like
wild
that?
things are. It's like
Yes.
kids probably saw that. We're like, excuse me?
Yeah, of course, my like two
Since when
favorite
you shouldn't
kids
you decide to
movies.
grow up here, bush?
It's emo kids sulking through a fantastical magic land, being upset by the world, only to learn what it
Jesus
means to
H.
be
Christ.
a human being. Come on.
And then you level up to Terrence Malick and you frolic in the fucking field.
No. We don't gotta go there. We don't need Malik. The fuck does he know? Up his ass.
I'm not a huge fan anymore. But hey, I get it.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't you look at me.
It's talking to Brandon.
I'm Frank.
I'm Jesse.
And I'm Brandon.
Fucking Hugo.
This is Hugo.
Did
I'm Hugo.
Howard Shore did the fucking score? Did you
Pauly
know
Shore?
that?
The guy who works the Cronenberg a lot.
And did After Hours.
Oh, yeah. But didn't he do
And
another Sassy as well?
He's done a couple. Aviator, a lot of new ones. Aviator, Departed, Gangs, and then
fucking hate the Departed score.
I like it. The guitar.
Do, 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 do.
So he won an Oscar for this thing.
Yeah, which is hilarious because it is pretty. It's like it's a traditional score. It's not like After Hours blazing in with its like uniqueness.
Yeah.
Even The Departed has a uniqueness. If you don't like it, whatever. And Gangs in New York too. It's awful. It's
Yeah.
literally an awful
Oh.
score, but it's unique for that kind of fucking movie. So I guess props.
No. It's a choice, and it's not a good one.
It's a choice. I think it's fucking weird Richardson won for this. It does look good. Every review
I
you
think-
see, though, is like, this movie looks amazing.
Well, I think it's because Scorsese had said that none of them had worked with the technology, and so it was like adapting to the technology and having to also incorporate your own skill set and making all the visuals look as stunning as they normally would in 2D in this 3D digital format with a lot of CGI. Imagine operating in that world, going from like all that stuff early in the 90s, like Casino even being like the perfect example of how efficient he is with a camera.
That's true.
This is what? 16 years from Casino.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
this should be a big old level up. It's weird looking, though. It just looks like a kid's movie because you can see everything. There's not a lot of expression in the visual lighting.
There's some
and
moments.
stuff. There's moments for sure.
And same thing with Thelma. Sometimes it feels like they both snap into this like really expressive mode.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about specifically the train scene that when it's really going to crash. Or I think about
What do you, like at the end?
actually both when it almost hits him and then his dream.
Yeah.
Like both are like very expressionistic in their usual styles, Thelma
Right.
and Richardson.
Yeah.
But or like the papers in the room, which was like Shutter Island's like memory. Like when they drop the box and the
Right, yep, I
papers are
thought about
flying
that too.
everywhere. I'm like, this is just like when she's turning into ash.
I
Hilarious.
I think it's interesting that this movie and Shutter Island both, his last two, were sort of his departures from
His
after
norm.
following The Departed, he departs from his norm and he moves into genres that he's not familiar with or hasn't tapped into too much.
Yeah.
And ironically turns them into movies that are intrinsically his and could only ever come from him, really. Like in the sense of the way that they're made. Like nobody else would make the movies like he does.
Correct.
Shutter
Island, maybe.
I don't know, man.
Hugo, maybe. Not percent. You're right. I don't know.
Hugo
and
wouldn't even
Hugo's-
exist if it wasn't for Marty. Almost.
That's
Hugo's
true.
not
You know
a
what I
very
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a very conventional like children's movie, you know. Like it does feel like it's tailored for Francesca, who probably does fucking has no choice but to love cinema.
Yeah.
'Cause
Can you be
Scorsese-
a Scorsese child and
I
not
think-
love the
Because
movie?
Scorsese's probably like Miyazaki and it's like, Dad won't talk to me unless it's about movies.
This
so.
is the kind of
No.
kids movie that if I had theoretical kids, I'd want to show this to them like real young. Like
Definitely.
4 before they are too exposed to like
movies or the-
Frozen.
corporate corporate cartoon franchise. Like they need
Frozen Minions.
those characters in order to enjoy any media.
Yes.
Like I can't have that. It's too limiting and I'll be so sad and I'm a selfish parent in theory. But
I'm a selfish hypothetical parent in the future.
Fuck me.
I want them to watch this movie like good and young, so that way they get that love of movies too. Hopefully, or it's gonna be the inverse.
Are they
if that
bored
ever
out of their
happens.
gourd?
I hate movies, Dad. You suck.
And I hate you now.
Yeah.
No.
Don't have kids.
I showed my kid Vertigo when they were 7 and they won't talk to me anymore.
No, they just be like, "What's happening?" It's boring.
Yeah.
Most likely.
I think that the worst one would be like 2001 or something.
Yeah, I was too young when I first saw it. I was like, I didn't
Show
hate
that
it,
to him first,
but fuck,
like
man.
right
Didn't
out
like
of the
it.
womb. Like, all right, put him in the goddamn.
Put them in the
bed.
box. That's the crib, and then you project it on the ceiling.
Yep.
Watch this now.
What if they didn't cry? They just stopped crying. Watch the movie, and then at the end of the movie, it starts going, Daisy, Daisy.
They turn to you and they go, "I understand." What the fuck?
That's what we were supposed to do with 2001 this whole time.
This whole time, it ends with the baby.
It's
He
what the
was-
fucking
he was
space,
trying to
baby.
All right, for all you people who are pregnant out there,
Don't play Mozart for your kids.
fuck that. Just play 2001. See what happens.
Watch it every day for the
Do
whole
this
9-month pregnancy. Make sure you blast it nice
Okay.
and loud. Maybe wear headphones so that way the baby's getting direct, signal right to the womb. Kubi's trying to talk to him.
please. And if you do this, let us know.
Please do this experiment for us.
I would watch Hugo with a child as well.
A theoretical child.
Not a real one.
I don't know. I feel like there is a point
If I was
where it's like,
babysitting a
it's-
child for
Yes.
some reason, I might
Bring
be
this
like,
over.
no, there's a
A
point
way
where
to
it's too
entertain
late.
yourself.
Like my niece is like 12. And
"Oh,
I
that's
feel,
way too late."
I felt like if I showed her this movie, she'd be like, "This is bullshit.
Yeah,
What's happening?"
I think this is literally for like children. I think.
I was 16 when this came out, I think.
No. Yeah. Really?
Yeah,
I was 15? Yeah, that makes sense. That's math.
that's wild.
That is
But we
That's
wanted to see, it
mad.
was Sassy. We didn't care,
I did care. I was nervous.
but it was still
Shutter
Sassy.
Island.
I know.
I mean, I had the same thing with Fincher and Gone Girl. You go in with doubt, and then they prove you wrong, and you go, right, I'm sorry for not trusting you, Papa. Like, I should listen.
Yes.
I know it's you. I know you got the goods.
Yeah.
You faltered me before, but I know.
Even when you falter, you serve up some goods.
Benjamin Button.
That's Fincher.
But
Oh, yeah. Bringing out the dead.
God,
Everybody's
fine.
got a
Gangs of
dud.
New York.
Everybody's got a dud. It's fine. Marty's got a few. But we're not there right now. We're at Hugo.
Which is not a dud. It's a Spock.
You guys, are we struggling to talk about it because it's a kids movie?
Well, no, I think that it is we just talked about like this is the last plot heavy Sassy movie, the last like 2 movies that we talked about, but this might actually be the last plot heavy Sassy movie.
I don't think this is plot heavy.
It runs on a plot like that
Does
leads.
it?
The plot is like the MacGuffin for the real movie.
That's
It's a
why I
whole
don't think it's
hour
plot
of plot,
heavy.
and then all of a sudden it's movie.
It's not even an hour of plot though. It's mostly like, look at this boy's life. He needs his book back. We learn about his dad. He meets this girl.
Well, I know, but
Now
there's
he's
the idea of the
working.
mission. Like, I got to find out what happened to my dad. That's the big goal through the
Maybe-
whole movie.
Okay, maybe because I'm jaded because it's a rewatch where I like knew that
what's going
wasn't
on,
the
yeah.
plot and knew that like that's
I
only
remember being
relevant to
jarred in the
character.
theater
Me
when
too.
it was like, oh, this is about movies? This is fucking sick.
Yep.
I don't know. When
I was like, all in, raise. Let's go.
Put it all on black.
And then it paid off.
even this being my first viewing, like I would honestly forget sometimes that he was trying to like figure out a secret message from his dad,
Right.
Because he mentions it like when he's closer to getting the picture drawn by the automaton, he mentions like, and I gotta see what if it's got a message from my dad, and I was like, oh yeah, that's why the fuck you wanted to do. I mean, I just thought you wanted to fix this goddamn machine because you and your dad had been working on it, and it was cool, and I was like, that works just as well for me, honestly. Honestly,
Me too.
what you got?
It's better.
Nothing.
I think, but that's all character. It's about him that's about him and his inability to move forward. And how does he finally learn to move forward? The magic
Gets
of
hit
the
by a
movies.
train?
No,
Oh.
come on. Whole thing's just about the magic of the movies. I don't even think it's about like loving movies. It's about how much they mean to the world and how people can relate to them, which is filtered through directly through Hugo, Chloe Grace Moretz. What's her name in the movie?
Isabel.
Isabel, sure.
Are you No, that doesn't sound right at all.
It's
I think
Isabel.
it's even more.
It is
like,
Isabel. Congratulate. The first time you've said something right on this fucking podcast.
What?
What?
The first time I said,
Podcast.
I said podcast.
you said pod.
I said pot.
You said
said
pod.
pod.
Rewind. First time you've said something right on this fucking podcast.
Keep it triplet.
I mumble. Fuck off. Hugo. Isabel.
So I think it's
and the whole Malaise family, but
it's even more profound. I think that it's like communicating to the idea that movies can change you on a profound level as an artist, as a creator, and as a watcher and consumer in the same but different way. You know,
The transformative power of cinema. That's
the
what
catharsis of emotion.
that's what I felt by the time this movie was over. That's what I thought Sassy was trying to get me hip to, was the transformative power of cinema and how movies can contain a message that shoot through time. I don't know, like I kept thinking about movies as a time machine and how, this kid doesn't discover these movies necessarily, but discovering this byproduct of love for movies, that being the automaton. And that automaton, and that being sort of his vessel and his journey into the world of cinema that does begin to transform him and the world around him.
Yeah, it does make him understand and connect with people. It's his way, because it was the way of connecting with his father, and now he's connecting with this new family and able to let go of his old.
And I think the Méliès element brings something like twofold to the table, where it's like
it's literally magic.
I know. Well, Méliès being this stern, stuck-up old man most of the movie, who seems, if anything, barren of any imagination or any viewpoint outside of his reality. And it's something that, if
His
anything, he just
introduction's
blocked off. It
hilarious.
is hilarious.
Their whole exchange.
But
You.
I think when you see his work in the movie and you see him at work, you realize that he is just as childlike in his wonder and his imagination as an artist. And the whole time he was making his films. And in a way, he didn't grow up until much later than most children grow up, in the sense that he had to drop his whole career and leave it all behind and, you know, only look back with pain as opposed to happiness. And I think the other element that it brings is that familial element that cinema itself brings to the table. Like, I think my most profound relationships that I have with people in my life are those who share a love of the movies, not just, you know, because I like movies, but because I love movies. Like, anybody that shares in that love automatically shares this connected part with me, no matter what. Like, no matter how different we are, there's always going to be that. There's always going to be something. And that's such a special and unique element that movies bring. The hum is going to be loud. And just working on movies in general, like the family that you create making film, and Scorsese and Thelma and Richardson and all the crew that he brings back, and even in the cast, like he uses a couple actors he's used in the past. So yeah, like all that comes tied together like nicely in a meta way with a very true story.
I think I think Scorsese would have to have brought himself to it, and he has that clear connectivity.
Always does.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be a Scorsese picture. And
it's a picture. What a picture!
I think that's all. Like that, the moment that has stuck with me the strongest is when Stuhlbarg's talking about when he met Méliès by going on his set, and he says to him, I did pull it up. If you've ever wondered what your dreams, where your dreams come from, you look around. This is where they're made, and it's like it has been a way for us to communicate with each other on a grander scale, and it propels things. Well, for a long time, it was the main source of pushing things forward as far as like ideas and creativity, and even socially and commercially, and everything. Like, movies were the largest driving force for a long time. Not anymore, but they were. And this all fits in with everything you're saying about Scorsese bringing it together and the general love of movies, but also, hold on, I had it. It's leaving. Fuck. The fucking shit. But also his almost habitual need to preserve film and
preservation of film,
where it comes from, which is such a tricky thing when you think about history. And it's like, you do need to know the past and learn from it, but you can't just hold on to it solely, which does make it extra interesting in this movie about old movies incorporating the newest technology literally possible at the time of its creation.
The first fully digitally shot Scorsese film we haven't mentioned.
That's in him moving into a new form, him being as new and fresh and out of his comfort zone as literally possible by looking back and paying nothing but homage to where everything really started. And it's that it is in itself, this is his film that is preservation. Like, if he can't save all the movies, at least he has this to remember something.
Hugo is his childhood. Wolf of Wall Street is his teens through his 30s. Silence is his midlife crisis.
His adulthood.
And The Irishman is the death phase.
It's now his elderly phase. Yep. The 4 cycles of life in a row.
And so, Killer of the Flower Moon is beyond the infinite then, right?
Yeah. It better fucking be. Watch it be trash.
It's De Niro and DiCaprio.
What if
he
it's
can't
trash?
fuck this up?
Speaking of DiCaprio, this is the first time in 12 years.
12 years?
That we haven't worked with them.
Wait, yeah, because 2000. So, 11.
Well, when they filmed it, Gangs came out in 2002.
Oh, that's right. It's
so
not
it was
2000.
9 years between the releases, but I'm sure they filmed that shit in 2000.
The factoid that I read, 12 years.
Well, I don't
So,
know if it's a great fact.
It's wrong. And
Well,
therefore,
Wolf of Wall
I'm
Street
wrong.
would have been 3 years between that and Shutter Island. I don't know. Anyway, this is the one break in the Leo run, and then we have one more chapter, and then we're on to wherever we're at.
Yeah.
Leo could not have fit in this movie.
At all.
I do think this is I just had the thought about how like literally every main character has an arc in the movie and like are changed by the end of the movie, and that's why
To a
it is
certain
an
extent, yeah.
ensemble cast. Like the whole family, the three of them change, Hugo changes, and Sacha Baron Cohen changes, and those are like the 5 leads. They all have their own stories.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that whole scene where Sacha Baron Cohen like talks to Emily Mortimer and like building the courage, and like when she's like, my brother was in the war or lost my brother in the war.
Yeah.
That's like a 5+ minute scene that you just have with the two of them
Yeah,
in
it was
a
just
kids
in the
movie
middle of
called
nowhere.
Hugo. I was like, this is the craziest shit you've ever done, Scorsese.
Big old flowers.
That's what I mean. I think he's literally implanting in the youth, like, you'll like my if you like this, when you get a little older, you'll like my other stuff.
Right.
But fuck, what else you guys want to say about Hugo? I don't got a lot.
I mean, I think that's the thing that I take away most from the movie is looking at Scorsese's love of movies and seeing how real and true it is, and how streamlined and direct he is able to communicate that through this. And it's almost like he's a kid in a candy store by the point that he brings that element into the movie. Like those montages, man, it's like he would be a YouTube like video essayist if he wasn't a fucking director.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sitting there going like, oh, look at all my favorite movies side by side. So fun.
He was giving me Spike Lee vibes a couple times, honestly, with the inclusion, all the ways the
literal
montages were constructed. I was like, this feels like the way Spike does it, and like he's the only other person I'd compare it to. Like they do it in
They're
such
buddies.
a specific way. At least he does here in such a specific way that I was like, this is nice, and I
Mhm.
get emotional. Like the way they cut their montages, I don't know what it is. I'm always just like, you guys do it better than anybody. Just fuck me. Good, thank you, Thelma. I don't know.
Thank you, Thelma. Praise be Thelma. Everybody, 3, 2, 1. Praise be.
Thelma.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mama. But I think I said this off mic that I think if I was alone, I probably would have been crying watching this movie.
I teared up.
I cried. I didn't mean to. Like I didn't even feel it coming, but the tears were just there. And then they didn't stop until the movie was over.
What do you think it is that you're connecting to that brings this strong emotion? Because we're not dropping accolade after accolade on top of this movie. It's not like his best work. I do think it's great, but there's nothing exactly to dissect. It is a literal children's film, so there's that. But but we're all still have acknowledged the emotional power it did have. So what is that? Is it just the movie? Is it just the movie?
That's the biggest thing for me because I can't remember a time that I didn't love the movies.
The biggest thing for me is the desire to help and and wanting to make things better for everything around you, and that's Hugo's whole thing. And
I think he inadvertently does that. He's looking out for him and his dad's.
He
bullshit
starts
the whole
looking
movie.
there.
No,
He starts
at the scene right after he gets pulled off from the train tracks, and Sasha's like, "I finally got you." He's like, "You gotta let me go." He's like,
Yep.
"There's somebody that is broken.
Exposition.
And I can this can help fix them." He's like, "You gotta understand, don't you?" And then they look down at his leg, and then Sacha Baron Cohen just like looks at him, and then Ben Kingsley walks up and says,
"Don't look at my fucking gimp leg, kid!" Pulls out a gun, pop, pop, fucking walks away.
All this movie was missing was a gun.
It just needed one pop.
needed
Wasn't
one
there a scene
gun.
where they opened a desk and we were like, "Where is it?"
Yeah.
No, when he puts the rat on the table and he pulls the cloth off, we were like, "What if it was just a gun?" He's like, "Do it." Like,
You know what this is?
But you were saying
you never seen one of these before, kid.
Ben Kingsley shows up to be like, "That's my boy."
Well, he
Turns
goes
into the Irish.
He goes, "You've got to understand, don't you?" And then it shows the shot of his leg, and then you hear Ben Kingsley say, "I do," and then just tears immediately. And I was like, "It's all coming together right now, isn't it?" Like, God damn it! And they just, obviously you have your stereotypical like heartfelt speech, whatever, like "This is my son," and all that other stuff, but just the desire to like help the world around him, and how it started off being about his dad, but how he so quickly once the bigger picture was presented to him, that's what he latched on to, as opposed to still he could have been in agony for not having a secret message from his dad, and he could have still just been like, all right, well, I guess I got to focus on not going to the orphanage and staying the clock. But instead, it's, oh shit, like I didn't get a secret message from my dad, but I did find a lifeline basically for this sad and angry old man who has one of my favorite lines in the movie. What is your name? Hugo Cabret. Go away, Hugo Cabret.
Well, inadvertently, his dad does give him that gift, even if
Yeah.
he didn't know it. Because without that, he wouldn't have gotten to George.
This is a great movie.
It's so good.
I just like I feel
Very
like
sweet movie.
I feel like I could watch this a lot of times throughout my life. Not all the time, but like randomly, like in a year, in a couple of years, whatever, and like it would always be enjoyable. It's like surface level fun, and I think there is like like acknowledging it's a kids movie. I think there are enough complexities that are like worth remembering and feeling through again, and feeling that emotional satisfaction at the end. Like if I didn't care, like I never felt like I necessarily cared about Hugo, but like feeling emotional at the end, it's like I do. Like I'm glad everything worked out, and I'm like happy with this happy
Works out
ending.
for like everybody.
And it's nice. It's like cheesy, but it's nice, and it's like I don't feel
Hey,
it's like
you
it's
ever
not
want to see where dreams are made of? You
No.
take a look around.
I refuse.
The movies.
One thing I did.
It's only in the movies.
One thing
Yeah.
I did think about
That's
is like
true.
if Hugo did have a crush on Chloe Grace Moretz,
Which
that's a very weird dynamic now. You're like
No,
my-
we mentioned that.
yeah,
Yeah,
we-
now they're brother and sister.
Yeah,
you're like
my
my
new-
sister.
I had the whole. That's so funny you brought that up, because it turned into a whole argument where I was like, well, they established an entire relationship as being romantic, and now it's like you just technically are my child, and it's like that feels different to me than like
It feels
if
like
you were
the,
born and like this is your adopted sister.
Well, obviously,
Arrested Development
it's not
reveal.
the same.
I'm just saying, like, that doesn't trouble me as much as it normally. Like,
All right.
they brought up Umbrella Academy and how Luther and what's her ass are like, but I was like, but they were raised as adopted brother and sister, which is why it's fucking weird. It's like that was supposed to be your dynamic. Whereas Chloe Grace Moretz and Asa Butterfield, it's like you were people who genuinely just met and had this connection and were like, yeah, I like you, fuck. And then now it's like, well, I guess you're my brother. That's not it's fine.
That's
I
up
know.
to
It's
MVP.
just like from the outside perspective, like when you see, oh, look out, it's the new kids, their brother. Whoa, why is he making out?
Maybe they won't say they're brother and sister. He'll probably keep his last name.
Because it's just
It's a symbolic adopting.
yeah. I know. I was just thinking on the surface level. I was like, that's a whole can of worms.
You're
It
my
is a whole
boy.
can of worms.
You're
But
gonna
it's a
hold my
kid's
lights.
movie.
You're gonna get me coffee. You're gonna get donuts.
This, I looked it up. This both is faithful to the book it's adapted from. I've read everywhere that it's like pretty much the same stuff. Like
the Arthur's in it.
just a little bit of things added in for movies padding. And then also I read that it's pretty accurate to history. Obviously Hugo's not real, but like the way Mélier's career went and stuff,
Yeah.
and his like downfall and revival and such was real. You know, World War I really fucked him up. When they included the World War I footage out of nowhere in this
Yeah.
movie, it's just like, is this a kid's movie?
That
This
was
shit's
fucking wild.
It's bananas. What a great time at the picture show.
What a
this,
picture.
This Hugo Cabret. I like, man,
Good picture.
I like it a lot. And I'm a sucker for, when I'm in the zone, I'm a sucker for any movie
Bad
that
movies,
has like
yeah.
where it's like the ends with the like the speech on the stage, and he's like, "It's all thanks to this boy," and they're just like, "Yeah, thank you." But I also like thinking
Back to
about
Bill and Ted.
if I was sitting in the audience, being like, "Who's he talking about?" Like, no, the only people in the room who get what he's saying are the audience, and the 5 people it involves. Like his
Well,
whole
who's
first
he talking to?
talking to us,
The audience.
talking to us. I don't got much else to say.
Let's be blunt.
One of you two's got to say something unless we're getting blunt.
Scorsese has a cool cameo in this. That's all I got.
It's a great one. It's stuck with me.
Yep, me too.
One of the few things
I
I
remember that frame.
distinctly remembered from the
I
movie.
remember that frame.
Gorgeous. And all the recreation scenes are really amazingly done.
Yes,
Like,
they are.
just as good as the Aviators of doing Hell's
True.
Angels. Like,
Mhm.
that feeling of being on set and that, like, sporadic chaos that can't be
Filmmaking?
found anywhere else.
Seems Maximilian doesn't like the cut of your jib, little man. He is disturbed by your physiognomy. He is upset by your visage. Why would he not like your face?
Sacha Baron Cohen's the best.
He's the best.
He's the best of this movie. He's so fucking good in, like,
Very
literally
nice.
everything. Is he the greatest? Is he better than Daniel Day?
Imagine if he was Freddie Mercury.
It should have been.
I know.
Would have been the best thing ever.
I know.
Literally nobody else should. It's
He
fucking.
quit the movie because he was like, "You people don't know how to make movies," and he left.
He said, "This is not the story of Freddie Mercury. This is
Yep.
bullshit."
There's a fire. Your father's dead. Pack your things quickly. You're coming with me. Quick.
All right,
It's
you're
just like,
reading-
what?
So run down Hugo quotes for another hour,
Perfect.
and then we'll be blunt.
Keep going. Got an hour to fill, buddy.
All right. Christina Rossetti's her name, after the poetess. Would you like for me to recite?
You're done.
My heart is like a singing bird,
You're done.
whose nest is watered shoot.
Stop it.
My heart is an apple tree,
Why are you doing
whose
this?
boughs are bent and thick-set.
We did tell him to do this.
I'm revoking it.
Stop that.
You're done. Your
If he
father's
is
dead.
deceased, and who is
Your
been
father's dead.
winding
Pack your
the
bags, come with me.
clocks?
Shut up.
Ralph, sit down.
That's our first
That's how you get me
quote.
to stop.
Okay.
All right. So
Time to
snaps
get
you out
blunt.
of it anytime.
I think it blunt.
Have a good one.
I'm Frank.
I'm Jesse.
And I'm Brandon.
I give this a 4 out of 5. And I think it's this you can't see. I have my thumb and my index finger are very close together. It's this close to a 4.5, but it's not quite. I think it's a great movie, but there are definitely things that are not great about it. But
Laws.
there are flaws. But I had a great time watching it, and I think I could watch it all the time. And right now, it's sitting in my number 10 Sassy. Obviously, there's one that's going to guarantee to push it out at the 10. But
And then maybe two more.
it's possible the other. We'll see what happens.
Possibly tonight.
It's
I
possible.
think tonight's the night.
I don't. I honestly think I'm going to like Hugo more.
I believe you.
But I don't know where I sit about voting in the canon. I think I'm thinking no.
What?
But I think I could be convinced. So I'm a throw out a hesitant, soft no into the air. But
Why
I
no?
might. It feels like a personal canon to me. It feels like this is something that I really enjoy. But when I think about some metaphysical idea of what the chronic canon is, I'm like, this doesn't feel like it belongs per
It
se.
does.
What other movies in the I suppose maybe there's one, and even that one might not really be too out of character, but how many movies in the canon that are directed by Mr. Martin Scorsese are out of character for Mr. Scorsese, other than The Color of Money?
Let me look real fast. Oh, I did add Aviator and Departed. Made by Scorsese that are out of character.
See,
After Hours, Color of Money, maybe Aviator.
not really.
Not really. But then what's in character?
Like, I don't know.
Truthfully, just Goodfellas, Departed, but Raging Bull and Taxi Driver, like they feel
Raging Bull's got it all, man.
they
all
feel in
there.
character, but like they're also kind of every movie's kind of a little different. I don't know. You're right. So you think that's an argument for it being in?
Well, I think it's quite a stark departure from other things he's done.
It is.
But I also think that in the grand scope of Scorsese's filmography, knowing about his love of movies is pretty important. And we did discuss how Aviator kind of brushes through that.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
but not just.
That's you both being polite, waiting for the other one to go.
But not just Ceci's love of movies. I feel like this movie also encompasses like your guys' love of movies and the power, and even my love of movies and the power of cinema. Something that Aviator didn't do. We end up attaching ourselves way more to Howard Hughes than we ever do with the idea of cinema and movies and directors and things like that. You
That's
know,
true. The future.
the way of the future. I don't know. This movie feels like it's trying to speak to you so much more as like a person who likes movies, as opposed to just like this is a movie you are watching.
So what's your bluntness?
Maybe it's the
My
sucker.
bl- I
the
get-
sucker in me wants it.
Before we talked about it, I was sitting at a 5 just because I was crying in initial viewing, and I was like, this fucking slaps. But then like I was thinking about it, and I was like, no, it's more like a 4.5. I don't think it's actually touched the crown jewel of the 5 or Sassy. Because like I was like it was hard for me to stay focused throughout when I was watching it this most recent time. Like there was multiple moments where I was like, ooh, I'm fading out. Like, let me focus up. Let me rewind a couple more seconds and
That's
see what
not
the
a
fuck is up.
5-star film.
Exactly.
Well, how often? I'm sorry. How often has Sassy made you cry? It's not often, is it?
Mm-mm.
Has it been ever? You've had to have cried before. Not
Irishman.
counting Irishman. Not counting Irishman.
up to this point.
Up to this point.
No.
Never. This is the first time you shed tears during
I think
Sassy?
that I've had moments where I've wanted to, but
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
trying to
I don't know if I've
think.
cried necessarily in any of his films up to this point.
Now I'm trying to remember if I have. I don't know if I have either. I thought for sure, honestly, is where my brain was at. Like, I've had to have. What?
I think his most emotional movie thus far might be Raging Bull. Like, I think if there was ever a movie that I should have cried during, it was probably that one. But
maybe
it's just
I
too
think on
much.
the second viewing I would fucking just be.
Oh, you say you
bawling.
cried during the opening credits of Mean Streets.
I do every time. It does make
And
me
if anything,
real
that
fucking
me too. It's
emotional.
pretty intense.
Just it's not even the movie that follows. It's just the idea of what I'm seeing, how
Yeah.
real it feels, and then thinking about Marty and that song is just literal magic. It's cheating. It's a cheat code. I'm just like home movie to Be My Baby. I'm crying. I'm already crying. Oh my god, it's the best. So yeah, Mean Streets for sure. I might have during New York at some random point. It's possible, but this is the distinct one. This is the crybaby.
Yeah.
So
Definitely teared up.
So you think it should be Jesse? What have you been trying to say? I stopped you like 9 times.
Bro, I don't even know if I remember, to be completely honest.
Well, what's your bluntness?
I don't know, man. I think I might be biased because I like movies a lot, and so does Scorsese. But this is a Scorsese podcast. This is the Scorsese session. This is all about Scorsese. This movie is tied to Scorsese. This movie is Scorsese in a way that makes the argument that it probably should make it, and the fact that I like it despite its flaws, because I probably like it less than both of you as a
definitely do.
movie. But I do think that it is a very sweet and earnest movie in what it's trying to do, and I think that Marty puts himself into it quite nicely.
I'm sorry to bring the politics into it then, but I gotta ask a question then about this here canon we're creating. We've expressed our tightness in the past, and King of Comedy has come up multiple times. We've expressed our tightness in the past. Are we getting a little fast and loose now?
Hey, man, I love
Do
King
you
of Comedy, but that was always the case.
Do you feel like we're getting fast and loose with our entries now that we're in later? Or is it just now we're syncing up again and we were all out of sync for a minute?
Well, we
the
didn't end up
90s
Shutter
were
Island.
a
It was
fucking,
a big ol' hiccup.
Well, obviously we're not going to do Shutter or Gangs of New York. So I guess
Or
and
Bringing Out the Dead.
we've been out
or
of sync
Kundun,
all of the 90s.
Or Casino.
You're right.
The last one
Age
before
of
that was
Innocence.
Goodfellas. And
Cape
we had
Fear we
Aviator,
could have, but we
Potted.
did the old. Okay. So it's really just King of Comedy's the only one that's like maybe should have because
Egregious.
we all like it.
Yes.
Nobody dislikes it.
And we all graded above an 8, I think.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying right now. It's like, yeah, we all like this one, so why this? This doesn't feel like. Well, I like this more than fucking King Kong.
Because of the value that do you not attach the sort of movie lovers value to it?
I
you
do.
not-
That's where I'm coming from. That's
Like,
the
I
bread and
feel-
butter.
It feels like a bias.
I feel like all the value
It
we
feels like
attach,
it's tricking me.
all of the value we attached to King Comedy came upon thinking about it afterwards and seeing every Sassy afterwards and just being like, damn it, man, like you were like we liked it at the time, we loved it at the time, but as time goes by, realized that like we didn't give it the fairest shot that it needed.
That's still you too, theoretically. I think I'm
You
still
don't like
satisfied
books?
with my decision. Which now I'm wondering if I want to be the stick in the mud right here.
I mean, you can be the stick in the mud. I'm not going to argue because, like, Hugo's fine. It's good.
You would be
Cute.
you would be keeping Hugo out based on the principle of just like not you.
It just doesn't feel right.
Why?
I don't know.
Because it's a
I think it's a
kid's
great movie.
It's great. We all like it. It's a good movie. We all have a value
Is
attached
it
to it.
essential viewing?
That's what I'm wondering.
We just said that this was a movie you would show children. How is that not essential?
I think
That's what I need to hear. I'll vote it in. That's literally what I needed. Was that? You're right. Because I would. As soon as you said that again, I said I would show it to a kid I'm randomly babysitting. That's a Canon movie. Fuck. Okay. It's in.
Congrats, Hugo.
That-
And
but that
Sorry
just-
to all the Sassy Stans out there. You probably hate
Just
us.
punching themselves in the head like, how King of Comedy?
King County's not in the can.
But just
Gangs
like
of New York's
that-
not in the can.
well,
Shut
that's-
Island's not in the can. Bringing Out the Dead. Countdown. Casino. Dabba-doo.
I don't. Fuck. I guess it's in. I don't know. I feel weird. What about Wolf? That's probably actually gonna have a harder time.
Well, like I said,
I'm gonna be you guys.
he's been reinvigorating all the things that he's done before.
I've only been excited
Dies
about.
in Shutter Island, is born again in Hugo, goes a little ham in his younger years with Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes.
I'm gonna be so pissed if we don't like this movie.
You're gonna love it, Brandon.
We're
I, don't
gonna-
think
I
that's-
know I'm gonna love it because I love it.
I'm excited.
I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun. I think it might even be the same thing as Hugo, where I'm like, yeah, man, this is a fun ass movie and it's hilarious. And Jonah Hill is the star of the show.
Before watching the movie, just remember that in the 80s, homie was coked out and fucked
Yeah.
up for all
Also,
the movies he was making.
One of my other favorite side plots in Wolf of Wall Street, the John Bernthal.
Yeah, he's
Ah!
great. I think we're gonna look back and Hugo's gonna be a stain like King of Comedy, but I'm okay with it being.
Wait,
in.
stop it! You're
It's too
making me
late. It's in.
nervous.
It's in.
You son of a bitch!
Hugo.
Fans, attack Frank.
Yeah, I'm the worst.
No, you pushed this.
You were both with it.
Yeah,
Cool.
I
Hugo's
said
in.
I'm with it, but now that you're saying
Too
that,
late.
why do you gotta do this?
We've
It's
been
supposed
blunt.
to be a team.
Hugo rules. It rules. It rules.
I
Do
just
you
wanna-
think you'll watch this in 10 years and still like it?
Well, actually, that was something I was going to say. When I saw this, when it came out, so when I was 16 years old, the biggest thing I took away from the movie was how in love with the movies Hugo, the movie, is.
Mm-hmm.
The movie itself is in love with movies, and it's tied to it because Scorsese naturally is.
Mhm.
So that's just the way it works. And I saw that, recognized that, and appreciated that at the same level that I did watching it now. That appreciation did not deplete, and it did not feel redundant coming back to the movie all these years later.
Agreed.
So I can only imagine that will stick around because the love
Agreed.
of the love of the movies is eternal.
It's not going to
Love
change.
Movies is eternal.
Love of the movies
Unless
is
you
eternal.
become George Méliès and you completely alienate yourself from the movies because you couldn't do it the way you wanted to do it because you're a struggling artist who hates yourself and you hate everything about everything.
Scorsese
And you-
has to identify that could have been him.
Oh yeah,
Like that easily. That's
Raging
anybody.
Bull,
There's no
the movie that saved him.
There's no way to know if you're going to make it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has the chance to be Sassy or Méliès.
That's being an artist.
And that being said, who are some other directors that you would say are like underrated?
The
Because
tough.
I feel like at the time, Méliès would have been like a, you don't know Méliès? You don't know cinema,
Yeah.
sir.
yeah.
So who would you say is, of our current time, an underappreciated filmmaker?
I feel like
And what does that mean when I say that? Do you think that qualifies over 3 movies? What's the number there?
I don't know, man, because I feel
Any.
like not having the knowledge I do of the cinema world, the directors that I thought of could very well be like, no, man, they're not underrated in any sense.
Underrated is a tricky thing to define, and same thing with overrated. What bar are we taking that from? Just
Michael
our-
Bay's overrated.
definitely.
To a certain extent, I think people recognize that a lot of his movies are, in theory, garbage.
Some people scream he's underrated.
That he's an artist.
It's weird. I'd say he's
And
overrated,
then
even
Luca
in that regard.
Guadagnino, I think, is underrated.
That's fair because
Yeah.
people really only like Call Me by Your Name.
Yeah.
And it's like, after watching Suspiria, I was like, oh, I understand why you're so upset that people don't understand that this is what you wanted.
Yeah,
Like,
that
this is your-
has to literally kill you.
Like, ouch.
Like that movie you just were producing and decided to take over last minute is the thing you will be remembered for, and your lifelong passion project is generally dismissed.
Yep.
Painful.
Like, big ouchies, bro.
Art. It's no way to tell
That's the
what's
way it
gonna.
works. But hey, maybe down the line. Maybe down the line.
The one that I think that might not count is Barry Jenkins.
How's he underrated?
I don't know. I
He's
just feel like
pretty
people don't
highly
talk about
rated.
how much they love him. I want to hear it more.
You're in the wrong circles. His
Yeah.
movie won Best Picture.
And then
He hasn't made enough movies, I don't think, to be truly defined as like under or overrated.
Right now, we're seeing if he pays off on The Promise.
Then
I think 3 movies is the buffer. If you can make 3 successfully good movies, that proves that you are good at what you do.
then the one I was thinking of was Luca.
I think that is a good
stick,
one.
That is a
I'll
good
stick
pick.
with that one.
That's a good pick.
I thought of seeing France immediately.
Oh.
But only because I know This Much to Be True came out. If that wasn't there, I wouldn't think it. Light Between Oceans is such a dud, and that was the 3rd movie that I was waiting to see, and I was like, this will prove it, and it was such a disappointment. But with I know This Much to Be True, I was like, nope. That was just one misstep. Like, this man is literally one of the best to do it. He's
a goat.
He's Cassavetes reborn. And I thought about Cassavetes for a second. I'm like, no, in cinema circles, everybody knows he has a place in history, literally.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a name. His name is on an award.
He is
the Indie
not
Spirit Award.
an underrated person. He's appropriately rated.
It's pretty recognized in the canon of history now.
But Seeing France is literally the modern him. And it's beautiful to watch it happen, to hear his process and how actors talk about working with him. It makes me want to cry. I'm like, thank God you're out there, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
And the only other person I can think of is Terrence Davies, because still people don't. He's not well known enough. Like, he's getting more and more known by the year with the more releases of his older films and his newer films actually getting funding. But fuck me, he's still not appreciated enough. One of the best to do it.
What has he made?
Distant Voices Still Lives, The Long Day Closes, more recently Sunset Song, Quiet Passion. Have you heard of any of these?
No.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's a fucking travesty. He's literally, for a while I thought he was in my top 5 directors ever, but he's certainly 10, and he's standing there just like, don't forget about me. I'm like, I literally never will, Terry. You fucking beautiful man. He's the best. So sad. So sad. Such a sad old man. God. Everybody go watch a Terrence Davies movie, and you'll probably hate it, but if you do, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
You are.
Hey,
You're a little
so
wrong.
good. Most personal filmmaker maybe on the planet. It's fucking not true. Maybe he's up there.
Yeah.
But what about you, Jesse? Who do you call underrated?
I'm going to also name a couple simply because I feel like neither of those picks are personally like weighty enough where I'm like, you as a whole are like so underappreciated. Whereas like I understand why these guys are not seen as widely on a broad scale. But I do think that their films, or at least one of them, might appeal to a wider audience than has been seen. Actually, both of them. You know, fuck it. I'll say both. First being Mario Bava.
Oh, yeah.
Being like, you know, a pioneer of a certain breed of cinema, more specifically in the horror genre and all its subgenres.
Argento seems to have taken all his like piece of the pie.
Yeah, I feel like whenever I made like horror movies, I was pulling from ideas that I didn't even realize came from Bava until I saw his movies later in life. And I was like, it felt like Maya Deren in a way, another underrated filmmaker, but I understand again more so why Maya Deren would be underrated. That's a more like a
short
niche
films
thing.
that are hard to see.
Right, exactly, from the 40s and 30s and 50s. But Mario Bava's movies, even though some of them were even in the 50s and 60s, people have a hard time watching old movies. I think they hold up despite some of them being a bit cornier than others and a bit more dated. But like Black Sabbath is one of the best horror movies of all time. I think
one of the best movies.
It's almost like a talent show. It's just a showcase in how to make a good horror movie and how to spook an audience and how to have a good time.
I think anthology films are literally the hardest thing to do. And I remember not being jazzed to watch that on our 420 weekend. But like,
great movie to watch. Great.
The first segment started out with like a fucking sprint, and I was like, there's no way you can top this.
Yep.
And then by halfway through the second story, I was like, holy fuck, I'm the most invested I've ever been. I was like, there's no way you can top that. And then the third one is just like, how the fuck am I still freaked out and invested? Like, you did it. All three perfect short films.
And they were completely the structure of the Italian cut. I need to express that if we're going to talk about it. You can't watch the American International Pictures cut if you've never seen Black Sabbath. It's coming up toward October right now, so you should definitely start looking into watching some good scary movies. If you've never seen any of Mario Bava's movies or Black Sabbath specifically, that's a great place to start. Boris Karloff lovingly narrates in between, at the bookends in the Italian cut of each of the stories. And the end of that movie is literally one of the greatest endings in movie history.
It is.
It's literally it's like Hugo. It feels like Hugo. I had that same moment.
Yeah.
Like watching that movie for the first time, like that was one of the biggest movie magic moments I'd ever experienced. And that's like, an old movie functioning off really old effects that are in this time very dated and couldn't be pulled off.
But it's still amazing.
But it worked.
Holy Mountain.
Yeah.
Got that same moment.
About storytelling and style, and I think that's what he did best. He knew how to create tone and mood and all that stuff. And I think as far as a horror filmmaker is concerned, and even thriller filmmaker, I've seen a lot of his movies, like 14, 15. All of them are great, like for the most part. There's really not too many duds in the bunch.
Just make sure the telephone is the first segment. If then you're watching the correct
order
one.
is the telephone, the Verdelock, and the drop of water.
Yep.
In that order. That is the Italian cut, and it is in Italian, so
This-
you'll know.
So you said there was one more.
Yeah, I was just going to mention briefly Edgar G. Ulmer because I've seen only Detour and The Black Cat, which are both incredible movies,
Now
incredibly efficient and innovative.
I have a question. Was he
Yeah.
neglected at the time?
Oh, certainly so.
He was.
Yeah, like
Okay.
The Black Cat, it was a movie that, I mean, it might have done well at the time. I'm not sure. I mean, Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff coming together in a Universal monster picture, even though it's like the antithesis to a monster picture and is like the almost negative universe version of what a Universal monster movie would be about occults and postmodern Gothic castles built on, war atrocities and shit like that. It's fucking nuts. And the whole movie's like 65 minutes. And it's hilarious, meta, scary, creepy, ahead of its time, graphic. It's all those things. It pushes boundaries beyond belief. But Ulmer had a relationship, or an affair rather, with the the wife of the head of the MGM studio or Universal Studios
Universal.
son. Yeah, that was it. The wife of the head of Universal's son. And that got his name smeared in Hollywood. And then he had to work for a low-level production company for the rest of his career, where he eventually produced Detour, the down and dirty on the ground noir, basically just using every trick in the noir book, and even like expressionist visual tricks, like stuff that happened in that movie made me throw my hands in the air. I was like, this is fucking unreal. I'm on a roller coaster right now. This is awesome. I love every second of this.
Slaps.
Detour slaps my ass. It is so good.
Slaps my ass.
And both movies are as short as can be. They are only like 60 minutes and some change. So they are highly worth your time, highly worth seeing. And if anything, in conjunction with this Hugo podcast, in going back to the old days to find some gold in the past. The cavity.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of his movies, so I can't really say much.
You've seen Detour.
Oh, I have seen Detour. I forgot. It's a good movie. Hugo, just one last thing that I want to say. Ebert, it's his last one he reviewed.
Oh, wow.
4 stars. He was a fan. Went out on a good note. So,
Classic
Any notable quotes
nepotism
from the
bias.
nah, I didn't read it. Can't pretend like I did. I quickly Googled it before because I
His
always
last
forget.
review he ever gave was for The Tree of Life, correct?
Can't be.
Oh, no, it was for To the Wonder. To the Wonder was the last movie he ever reviewed.
Really?
Yep.
What last review is a thumbs up?
I don't know if it was a thumbs up.
It says it was. It was To the Wonder, and he gave it 3.5.
That's wild. Good for
So,
Terry.
That's at least he went out on a high note.
Yeah. And that's that, Mattress Man.
That's how the measures, man. We're not doing recent one. Right?
No need. We got a 3-hour movie ahead.
We do got a 3-hour movie.
And, we've talked a lot about Hugo. And now it's time to bend over a table and do some lines of, gummy worms or something. I don't know. Not cocaine, because that'd be wrong.
Would it?
I don't know.
Next
Just not
episode
our
of Comic
jazz.
Canon is
Actually, no.
Coke.
It won't be Coke. It'll be Quaaludes.
Now that I'm getting on board with. Find me Quaaludes.
I don't think you can get Quaaludes anymore.
Exactly. Find me some.
I know that because of this movie.
Email
if that
me.
is not true. It's only because of this movie that I know that.
James Madden.
Women's shoes. All right. Jonah Hill's a god in this movie.
Yes.
We're going to go watch it.
I'm so excited.
Can we order pizza?
Sure.
Let's order some pizza. Pizza's the way to the future.
The way to the future.
Way to the future.
Way to the future.
Way to the
Way to the
future.
future.
And bye-bye.
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 I'm Frank.
I'm Jesse.
And I'm Brandon.
Signing
Signing
off.
off.
Bye-bye.